Thank you all for coming. It's a beautiful night out there. Sometimes it's pretty darn miserable, but today it's beautiful outside, and it's great to have you here. I'm going to go over, for some of you, you've been here many times. For some of you, it's the first time. So I'm going to go over kind of the rules of the road for today. And I will go over it again when we go from section to section, just so that you're familiar, or some people come in later, right? So the way we've done it is that, and this is the way we do it every year, each of the candidates have picked the order in which they're going to do their opener. They get 3 minutes to do an opener, and I time them. Then we shift to the main portion of the agenda, which is question and answers to the floor. What I generally do is I just kind of sweep back and forth across the audience, taking questions. I ask you to actually ask a question, don't make a speech. If you want to direct it to somebody, you can. If you would like all of them, they can answer that as well. I will give some latitude from some banter back and forth between the candidates, and I might give you an opportunity to, if you really press for a follow-up, I might allow you to do that, but I also might cut you off, or I might cut the candidates off. So for some of you who've been here, I give you a little room, but then eventually we have to move on to the next question. So remember, ask a question, don't make a speech, ask one question. We will sweep back and forth until everyone who has asked at least one question and wants to ask a question can. And if we do have time and you have a follow-up question or another question, you might get the opportunity. But chances are someone's going to ask that second question anyway, so, bases get covered. Okay? And then after we do that for about an hour, we get close to 8:30, then we do the closer. And again, people have selected a number out of my hand randomly, and they do their closer. At that point in time, the program is over, and people kind of mill around a little bit. If you want to ask people questions, more informally, you're welcome to do that. Does anybody have any questions about the process or the agenda? We're all good? Okay. Before we start that, though, and ask Dr. Rummage to come, you have a flyer or a card on your chair. Just want to remind you that Election Day is really an important day, not just for candidates, but also for our schools. There's a ballot question, and so we just want to explain what it is. We're not getting into a discussion about it, just want to let you know the facts about it, and if you have more questions, we'll let you know how you can get those answers, but not at this exact moment in time.
Ooh, I get 3 minutes. Excellent. I was only going for 90 seconds. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Amy, for the opportunity to talk about our referendum. And as Amy did say, this election is about the Council and Board of Education, but also about our schools. And we are putting forward, as the Red Bank Borough Board of Education, a bond referendum for $6.75 million on this date. I'm going to skip to this topic because I could go on for about 2 hours about how proud I am to serve this community, our schools, our students, our staff, and work with the great partners we have established throughout Red Bank. But in the spirit of time, we'll stick to the referendum. It's a $6.75 million bond referendum. It is for 3 things: HVAC units, a middle school, primary school roof, and new windows at the middle school. At this point in time, all of those items have outworn their useful life. They're about 25 years old and need to be replaced. We work diligently to assess our facilities with our architects. They actually proposed to us $22 million in emerging projects. Being that we have about $6.75 million in retiring debt, we thought the prudent thing to do for our community, as well as helping us move forward as a school district, is to keep this tax neutral. So we are putting forward $6.75 million. We have retiring debt of $6.75 million, which leads to a tax neutral bond referendum and provides us the opportunity to replace our roof I'd like to use the word no-brainer. I don't know how everybody in this audience feels about that, but I think it's fiscally responsible. I think our board has done a great job trying to do the right thing for our students, and also trying to do the right thing for our taxpayers. One last thing in closing, if the bond referendum does not pass, as with your house, we will have to move forward with these projects. Right now, we'll be getting at least 34% from the state in aid to do these projects, and possibly as much as 40%. If the bond referendum does not pass, we will be responsible for 100% of the projects. And also, we will lose economy of scale. Instead of doing the projects over 2 summers, we'll probably take 6 summers, which obviously will lead to increased costs. So we hope you get out to vote. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck to everyone this evening.
Thank you very much. So if anybody wants more information, there's a card on your chair, and there's some more information at the table. Okay, so we're ready for the main bulk of the night. So let's get started. We have 4 candidates for council. The mayor is not up for re-election, so we're just talking about council seats. And of course, there's a bond question, and there's assembly, state assembly people who are also running. So we really encourage people to vote, because this is the kind of election where not as many people turn out. So, but every vote counts, and it does really make a difference. So who's number 1?
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank Amy. I want to thank the candidates.
Hold it up to your...
Can you hear me? And I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. It's very important that you are informed when you go into that booth on November 5th. My name is Kathy Horgan. I've lived in Red Bank for 20 years, and for 12 of those years, I have served on the Borough Council. I am seeking my 5th 3-year term, and I've noticed Red Bank has changed in that time. The council has changed, and I've adapted to each situation. I am proud of my accomplishments over the last 12 years, and I'd like to tell you about a few of them. The Rent Leveling Board, we have rent control here in Red Bank. This board focuses on stable housing in Red Bank that allows us to meet the needs of the elderly, disabled, and other vulnerable populations. We were able to succeed in keeping the tenants of Colony House in their home when an unscrupulous developer from North Jersey tried to convert the apartments into condos without first registering with the state of the borough, as he was supposed to do. The Red Bank Borough Education Foundation. Another accomplishment at the beginning of my service was my involvement in resurrecting the Red Bank Borough Education Foundation and serving as its first president, and I currently sit on its executive board. The foundation awards grants to the teachers of the primary and middle schools to provide additional financial support to enhance the educational experience of all students. These grants have been especially useful as the schools continue to be underfunded by the state. I am committed to ensuring that every child has the opportunity to receive the best education that they can. The Eisner Memorial Library. In the middle years of my tenure on council, I was appointed council liaison to the Eisner Memorial Library. At that time, the library was on the brink of bankruptcy and closure. The morale of the staff was exceedingly low. Money was scarce. The library was open on limited days and hours, attempting to function and meet the needs of the residents. Communication was poor to non-existent between the board, the director, and the staff. I was involved in turning that situation around. We appointed a new board of directors and a new director. Staff morale increased exponentially. New ideas brought in new ways to manage the daily operations of the library. Today, the library is open 6 days a week, including 3 nights, and is a vibrant example of how our borough meets the needs of seniors, students, those with limited access to computer technology and the internet, and much more. The Management Enhancement Study. Past paradigms for running Borough Hall needed to be addressed, and some practices were not sustainable. 2 years ago, we took the gutsy step to commission the Management Enhancement Study, knowing full well that we would open ourselves to scathing criticism. 2 more sentences. But we are transparent, and reforming our government is more important than doing business as usual. We hired a new business administrator, a new CFO, and changed the way the borough does business. The common thread in these examples is that they serve all types of residents in our borough. I'm proud of all these accomplishments and intend to keep focusing on meeting the needs of our community in long-lasting ways.
Okay.
Good evening. Thanks to everyone for coming. I want to tell you how much I admire everyone for coming out on a night like this. I love Red Bank too. That's why I'm running, so I appreciate your presence here. I'd like to say hello to Eric, who I've played basketball with over the years in some big battles in the paint. I would like to say hello to my parents and my fiancée Liza for their support. And even though my fiancée Liza is a registered Democrat, she's been a great asset knocking on doors and helping explain my bipartisan message. My name is Jonathan Maciel Penny. I'm an attorney. I live with Liza and my dog Baron in a condo on Prospect Avenue. We've been there since 2015. I'm originally from Lincroft. I've been there my whole life. My father has been a Riverview surgeon for about 30 years. So Red Bank has always been a part of my life. When Liza and I were looking to move into Red Bank, or were looking to move in together, Red Bank was the obvious choice. I would like to thank the Red Bank GOP for nominating me. I am the son of a Mexican immigrant. My fiancée is the daughter of a Turkish immigrant. And believe me when I tell you, I know how blessed we are to have the opportunity to try to help the people of Red Bank. I'm so proud to be Red Bank's first ever Mexican-American council candidate. I think I will be uniquely placed to make a difference in this town. And this town, for all of its beauty, does have its problems. In fact, there's a 48-page management enhancement report which very clearly lays out all the issues that Red Bank needs to address. Many of these issues and problems were created by my opponents here today. My opponents have served a combined 15 years on the council, and in that time, council mismanagement has led to the poor state of municipal government. When I'm on council, I will use my intellect as an attorney, my energy, and my passion for Red Bank to make it a better place. On the very first page of the management enhancement report, we have some selected quotes. We can't continue the way we are. We have been sliding downhill for years now with too many divided responsibilities for too long, and then just plain neglect. Meetings have no purpose here or takeaways or game plans. There's no goal setting in staff meetings. Our facilities are a disaster. We are all out of sync and don't know what the goals and objectives of the mayor and council are. Important issues here have been ignored for much too long. We all paid for this report. And when Allison and I are on council, we're going to use this as a guide to clean up the mess that has been made. And I hope on November 5th you will give us the opportunity. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to the 23rd Annual Red Bank Candidates Night. Thank you to Amy and the Westside Community Group for hosting, and for all of you to come out and hear what we have to say tonight. Who am I? I am a mom of 2 daughters. I am a wife of over 10 years, and I am a homeowner. Congratulations to the newest Red Bank homeowner, Eric Bigstrom. I am also a real estate agent, now for over 12 years. I am Red Bank's top real estate agent. As such, I am in Borough Hall often. I am working with the municipal employees all the time, and I am in the homes of residents daily. Employee morale is terrible. Many borough employees have grown to trust me, to confide in me, and many have shared that they have given hope on Red Bank. They have expressed a toxic work environment. They have lost faith and trust in our elected officials. This was highlighted in the management enhancement report and is even worse today. The culture in place is unhealthy. People are scared to do their jobs. They feel their jobs are at risk. Partisan politics is a disease that has infected Red Bank's human infrastructure. So what is special about me then? I am ranked number 2 in my company. So what, right? My company is a unique company that has an incredibly healthy culture, one which I've helped build over my 12 years. We We are ranked top places to work in New Jersey. And at the core of my company's culture is to put our clients first, to do what is right, and what is good, and what is honest. It's an environment where colleagues can trust each other and work with each other, not against one another. This ultimately leads to prosperity, efficiency, success, and a positive experience. That's what I come from. That is one of the most important things I will bring to Red Bank. Longtime employees won't be fired hours before reaching tenure on New Year's Eve, so a friend of the party can replace her. The town won't hold off on projects until late September and October for political gain. We are told we have to choose between Democrats and Republicans. I am here to say in the coming weeks, we have to choose not between Democrat and Republican, but for a free-thinking, independent person who will side with Red Bank over a political party. Vote this year for the person, not the party. Do we want to continue going down the path with those who have misused their powers and lost the people's trust? Or are we going to choose a higher road of honesty, integrity, and a healthy, positive direction? Taxes, safety, affordability, and more are important issues to me and ones that will be discussed tonight. But at the core of all of this is a deeper choice. Do a handful of the elite continue with their control, or do we balance and give back the voice to the people? I believe in Red Bank, I believe in my community, and I believe there is a better path ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank Amy for setting this up, and I want to thank everybody for being here tonight and everybody watching on social media. Tonight's a great event for you guys to get to know your elected officials. I'm Eric Yingstrom. I've lived in Red Bank for the past 7 years. I've been on the council for the last 3 years, and this year I was actually selected to be the council president. I currently am the chair of the Parks and Rec Committee, the Parking Committee, the liaison to the Shade Tree Committee, and the liaison to the Navesink River Municipalities Committee. As some background, I grew up in Freehold Township, graduated from Monmouth University, and went to Duquesne University in Pittsburgh for law school. I'm currently a partner in the Lemire Law Firm where I represent injured workers and hope to try to get them back on their feet. I also volunteer coach for the Phoenix program where I work with kids with special needs towards the Special Olympics every year. Over my last 3 years on council, I've worked hard. I've been dedicated to the Red Bank. This is a position more than a title for me. I enjoy doing the work, attending all the committee meetings, connecting with the committees and the stakeholders in town, and working on projects that will benefit Red Bank. As Parks and Rec Chair, I've worked and led toward the effort of bringing everyone together on a cohesive and agreed upon Bellhaven Nature Preserve, which is now under construction. The last Bellhaven was scrapped. We went back to the drawing board. I worked with numerous public stakeholders, held public meetings, and brought in every one of their inputs. Ultimately, it turned out everybody was on board for our new vision, and now we're underway and construction has started. Additionally, I did this with Marine Park. We worked with all the stakeholders, held public meetings, had input from everyone, including all of our committees and all the residents. And I want to see that project through as well. So I'm seeking re-election to continue to move the park system forward. Also, in looking back to 2016, I campaigned on reforming our borough processes and procedures, conducting a parking study, and tackling development issues. In my 3 years, we have performed a very critical review, which my opponents have pointed out. We knew we were going to take criticism about it, but we needed to do it, and we did. The Management Enhancement Report is something, it's a living document that we need to continue to implement and move forward. We've hired a new business administrator, hired a new CFO, performed a parking study, which we talked about in 2016 as well. And finally, we created the Red Bank Redevelopment Agency in order to put that development issues in the hands of our residents. Take it out of politics, and now it's with them. So I hope I have your vote on November 5th, and I hope you give me the privilege of continuing to serve you and working hard to see these projects through.
So great, thank you for everyone keeping pretty close to time there. So for people who came in a little bit late, I just want to explain what this section of the agenda is. But before I do that, I just want to make sure nobody is parked in a numbered parking spot inside the parking lot here. You're parked on the street or in a visitor spot, is that correct? Otherwise, someone will come in very angry. Okay, so now let me just re-review. This is the part of question and answer. We take about an hour of time to do this. So what I asked you to do, I'm going to sweep back and forth across. So don't worry if I sweep past you and you haven't thought of a question, I will come back. But please ask a question, don't make a speech, ask one question, try and be succinct, and I ask the candidates to be as succinct as they can be. And we can allow some banter here and a little back and forth, but it's my discretion to do that. And I will cut off people in the audience, and I will cut off people here at the table. The other is that no elected officials or party chairs are allowed to ask questions. You have access to candidates, all the time. We really want people from the public to ask the questions. If you could figure out what you need to do to get a question asked. I'm not going to explain it to you, okay? So please, no elected officials and no party chairs, okay? So I'm just going to start over here, and I'm going to start sweeping across. If you have a question, please stand up, say your name, and say what street you're on, just so we have a sense of where you're from. Are there any questions over here by the pool table? Not yet? Okay. Any questions in this section here? Go ahead. Stand up if you would and speak loudly for people.
So my name is Kate Sunberg. I live on Locust Avenue, and as a taxpayer in Red Bank, Eric, this question's for you. I really want to understand how in 2017, Red Bank applied for a county grant for Bellhaven and was denied. And yet we went ahead and we're $350 into this project. I see my taxes go up, I see a nature preserve destroyed. And today I see a massive political sign in front of Bellhaven with all the council and mayor's name on it.
Oh, sorry.
How do you justify spending $300,000 on a park when there's two parks within 250 yards of that park? My marine park looks like a mess.
Okay, so for people who might not have heard the question was how are we moving forward with Bellhaven? We lost some potential funding for Bellhaven, and we have other parks like Marine Park that is not in good shape. And it's directed to Eric.
All right, thank you for your question. I can justify that because the residents on the west side, which I was until today, need a park. The kids are playing in the middle of the street, the condos and the townhomes right next to it. All right, can I answer, please? Thanks. We needed a park on the west side. We're working towards that along with Sunset Park, and this was the first step in our park system on the west side. We do have parks at Johnny Jazz and at the primary school, but this is going to provide a preserve for nature and preserve their ability to be down there. It's public access from the primary school. The principal from the primary school noted that it was a 2-minute walk across the primary access road to get there. There's going to be an educational signage there for all the birds that we have down there, the bald eagle foraging, and finally, about the spending of the money, we cut back. This was originally a $500,000 project where we had $250,000 from the county. In 2015, before I was in council, the Republican council gave back that money and scrapped the prior idea. So we wanted to move forward with it. We thought it's a good idea to have that park there, but we needed to continue, so we toned it down. We were going to spend $250,000 on it, and we've applied for a grant from Green Acres for $100,000 as well. So we don't know if we're getting that yet, but that application is in, and hopefully we get that. And that's what really has delayed the project. We had to go through extra steps in applying to the state for Green Acres funding for this $100,000. Otherwise, the project probably would have been completed by the end of the summer.
Okay, we have two other candidates.
Sorry. When it comes to Bellhaven Nature Preserve, or the lack thereof, I think that the fact that we've had to go back to square one on a project like this is a perfect example of the way that the council is mismanaging your money. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars to stop and start, to get consultants, to restart. You know, I went down there for a campaign video, and you know, I love my dog more than anything in the world, and I would never let him walk in there. It's tick infested. There's nothing there now other than poor paths. You know, and if your goal was preservation or your goal was conservation, that park's not a good idea. It's a flood zone. It's on the river. It's going to create more interaction with people and animals. I mean, there's a reason that Seven Presidents Park closes their beaches and their dunes during breeding seasons. And these are all things that if you are a person who cares about green things, is not a good idea. But we do need more West Side space. There isn't enough place for kids to play. I'm lucky enough to live by East Side Park, but we need a park like that so that kids can go and kick the ball around and throw the ball around. So again, we have tokenism for during election time coming up with a new plan from square one, so that's a waste of money. We have bad conservation schemes, and I can't support something like that.
So one last comment, and I want to move on to the next question.
So in 2016, you campaigned that you wanted to have a safe place for kids to play. But now in 2019, we still don't have a safe place for kids to play.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sit right there. That's a good idea. That's good. Okay. We're being creative here. Thank you. So any other questions here? So I'm going to take here and I'm just going to queue up some people. So is there anybody else in this group here, other than you, who wants to ask a question? Who over here would like to, in this middle section, would like to ask a question? Anybody here? Not yet? Is there anybody over in this way? Okay, so you're next, and then you. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Tamara Kramer. I live on Locust Avenue. This would be for Allison and Jonathan. I'm seeing a lot of, and I noticed on a lot of the multimedia pages, there's concern of children's safety going to the primary school, going across Shrewsbury, and now you're adding Bellhaven, which is going to be also with kids down there, and I have personally seen cars flying. They don't stop for the crosswalks. I don't think they even see the crosswalks, actually. I've spoken to different people about putting speed bumps, and then they say that those don't work. Meanwhile, in my opinion, they do, because I just slow down.
So do you have a specific question?
So, I'm sorry, I'm just
okay.
My question for these two, since the council has already kind of let this fall flat, mostly that I'm aware of, how would you two address those concerns? Because I think they're very valuable concerns for the
Okay, so
West
for
Side
people in the
area.
back that might not have heard, the question is concerns about children's safety, you know, in the streets and cars going fast, and what would be their remedies for that?
So I have spoken on this topic passionately at many council meetings in the last, I would say, 16 months. I am not heard, I am not listened to, and the fact is Shrewsbury Avenue is a very dangerous road where people do not stop, where kids do have to cross to get to the school, and I've asked for police enforcement. I've asked for the council to meet me. I even said I would bring coffee. Nobody showed up after my 3 attempts to get them to come and witness what I see every day taking my children to school. There are crosswalks that are either faded or gone. You can look at these pictures after. I brought these pictures to the council's attention, and again, they are not listening and they are not taking action. When I am on council, I will take action and I will listen to the residents' concerns.
I just want to say that this issue has been one of Allison's passions, and I defer to her knowledge as a devout West Side mother. And I just want to take this, I'm not going to speak about that because she's so on point there. I just want to add briefly that I mentioned in my opening comments that I'm very proud to run with Allison. She's a true investor in the West Side. She's raising her family on the West Side. And I couldn't be more proud to call her a friend these past few months. And
Anybody else want to make a comment?
Yes, perhaps you aren't aware that we have received from the New Jersey Department of Transportation $1 million grant for Shrewsbury, and that will be going into effect very soon. Let me finish, please. And we also have a $100,000 grant from NJDOT for the train station. It's for specifically for pedestrian safety precautions and that. So to say that we're not doing anything is not true. And because neither of you have ever served in the government, it takes a while to get things done. It's not corporation where you can do something like that. You have to do specs, you have to apply, you have to go out to bid, you have to wait for responses from the state or wherever, Green Acres, whatever it is. And you will find, if you are elected, that you will come up against these and you won't be able to push things as fast as you would like to. This is the reality. This is the reality of being in government. So I just want to tell you and get you straight on this, that we have been working on this for a long time. So it is not true that we are not concerned about pedestrian safety, that we're not concerned about our students, that we are not concerned about people on bicycles, but I am concerned about drivers who do not respect the crosswalks, and I've seen this lots of times. But we are working very hard towards it. So I just want to set the record straight here.
You don't need approvals or permits to come and meet me and see what I witness every day. Also, our public utility department can fix these crosswalks that are faded or gone. And I know that just because the other day, Bank Street all of a sudden appears to have lines across it for driveways. And they also painted the crosswalks by the primary school in time for school, which was amazing, and then they decided to rip up the road. And then for 3 weeks, we didn't have crosswalks. So I know that the town can do it on a dime, because they did it on Bank Street, and they did it at the primary school, and a number of other locations right before school started. We also had a project where the road was ripped up on the first day of school, and I have pictures of these poor kids trying to cross, and bulldozers are about to run them over on their first day of school. They're walking to school with the sidewalks ripped up. Better planning, I think.
I don't think bulldozers.
just very briefly, Councilwoman, I'm sorry. I think that I think you were a little defensive there, and I don't know why you had to explain to us what things can't get done, or why things take slow. We're going to get things done. You had your shot. You've been on the council 12 years. You have a poor track record. We have the paperwork to prove it, that we all chipped in on that report to prove how bad you were at your job. So you don't need to be defensive and tell us what we can't do. That's not what politics is about.
I'm not telling you what I can't do. I'm telling you the system and the process.
The system was broken because you broke the system, because you've been entrenched for so long.
Just hold on in the back. Go ahead, you're next.
Oh, hi. My name is Tim Zebo. I live on East Bergen Place. I've been a resident for about 30 years. And I've really appreciated living in town. I think it's a great town. I really have a question for each candidate. And part of the question is really how much have you studied the management report? And my question is, from the management report, what issue do each of you think is the most important issue from that report? And to fix whatever that is, could you give us a sense of how much that will cost to fix that particular problem?
So he asked the question of what's the priority item in the management report that was issued and what would they do to fix it? And he's asking that question of each candidate.
Well, the truth of the matter is, it's everything needs to be addressed. But for me, I would like to see the charter study done. I think that we have a broken system of politics. And I just want to give a quick anecdote on my door knocking. I was door knocking on Washington Street the other day, and I decided I was feeling good. I thought I was knocking on someone's door that already had a famous Trump bargain sign on it. Meet my neighbor around the corner from my house. And I met a lovely woman who opened the door, and I said to her, what are your issues? Do you feel that the West Side is treated as second-class citizens? And she said, yes, absolutely, we can really help out that community. And I said, what do you think about the fact that the Red Bank Council has gone past Hispanic Heritage Month without acknowledging that
You have to answer the question.
I am answering the question.
Okay.
I'm answering the question.
Okay. I didn't know you were getting to it, so I'm just trying to steal it along here. Thank you.
And the woman, I asked her, what do you think of the council not acknowledging Hispanic Heritage Month this week? Let me guess, the council is all Republican. This is the woman who has the organization sign, which means that my candidates didn't even need to introduce themselves and explain their platform. This is why politics is broken in this town. I would like to do a charter study to possibly explore the idea of by partisan election or non-partisan elections or some other form of charter that has not yet been accomplished. Because right now, our candidates hide behind their deed and they don't get anything done.
Cost.
So I would say that it's important to contract for water and sewer operations and maintenance. We also are in temporary trailers since 2012. The DPW, it's not fair that they have to operate out of temporary trailers for that long. Most of you probably don't know, but our water contains lead. And for about 10 to 15 years, Kathy may know, that the results have been completely skewed to either businesses, the east side of town, or properties that were not on the 61 properties that were supposed to be included. 2 properties were on the west side of town, so it skewed the results. The Department of Environmental Protection got involved and did not give any violations like they should have. And they just gave pointers so that Red Bank can now do the correct job this past year in doing all of Red Bank and not businesses, not attorney law firms, but the right addresses that you're supposed to check for lead levels.
I would just like to respond to your accusation that there's lead in the water. We really don't want to poison everyone. Our water is tested multiple times daily. You're talking about soil in community gardening.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the 61 properties that give the results to the DEP and they're returned back. And Red Bank was found to have been testing the wrong addresses. They've been testing businesses. It was found out. They had a meeting with the DEP. And the DEP came to Red Bank, to the water utility station, to explain that you have to do all of Red Bank and only single-family homes. They were doing buildings, they were doing professional offices.
But we do test our water daily, and there are
But they're in temporary trailers for
Well,
how
that
long
I
now?
have to agree
And
with you.
we need to sell the water utility so that Red Bank isn't.
I have to agree with you about our facilities, and that's a big thing that was mentioned in the management enhancement report. We do need to combine Borough Hall, the senior center, DPW. DPW should be out of those trailers. We need to be in a better space department. And we do need to be in one place, and we're working on that, working to find a way to find land, first of all. Red Bank is very small, but that is something that is one of the most important things in the enhancement study.
With regard to your question, I think the major thing is regarding development. And we've already implemented the redevelopment agency. Before we implemented that, development seemed to be on a political whim. While I was running in 2016, there was specific spot zoning for some preferred developers that was shot down at the zoning board, and then the following week was taken before council and named the area need of rehabilitation, and now we have a new development of Almost Front Street. The redevelopment agency takes this out of any political party. This is the residents deciding what should be in our town, what developments should come about, what we should look into, and really decide on what the future of Red Bank development is going to be. And that's why we wanted to take it out of the council's position and put it into the agency of the residents.
Okay, so was there a question in the back? There was someone else before you. Was there somebody, there you are. I was wondering where you went.
Sorry.
All right.
Yes.
Mr. Boku, you're after. Okay.
Yes,
Go
my
ahead.
name is Anthony J. Falco Jr., fourth generation resident in Red Bank. So here's my question to everyone and my concern and issues, because I've lived here so long, is that why have we built up this town so much with all these apartment buildings where our standard of living now has gone down the tubes, where I can't even get around Red Bank to go a quarter of a mile where it takes me 10 or 15 minutes. Why are we allowing that much building in this town? That's what I live
You want to start?
because I lived here
Go
that
down
long.
the road. So the question was, why are we building so many
Apartment
multi-unit
buildings. We have a lot of
apartment
units.
dwellings, and bringing down the town? That's
Oh, no, it's our standard of living for residents who've lived here for a very long time.
That is a great question.
Go ahead.
And while Red Bank will always be a business hub, we do have to look out for the residents first. When I'm on council, there will be a decision flow chart that'll start. Is this good for residents? Yes, no. And that's how everything will begin. You know, we really do have to start wondering whether or not we are reaching the limit of what we can provide quality for our residents. You know, our schools are obviously always going to be our number one priority, probably enjoy any community. And we have to wonder, can we sustain our schools even? You know, we have a referendum because the actual physical concept of the schools are not doing so well. So we bring up more units, more infrastructure, more people. We need to take a deep breath when it comes to development. When I'm on council, I will certainly ensure that, and make sure that we are not overstretched or overspent to provide for the residents that we have in town.
Thank you for your question, and unfortunately, we have not been on council for a combined 15 years to let these projects go through. I am not in agreement with the VNA building. We're talking about over 200, close to 240 units. Absolutely agree that that is crazy. We cannot handle the infrastructure to continue going down the route that you're saying we've already gone down. So when we're on council, we will check that. Smart development, for instance, the Anderson building. I think that's a great project. I think the utilized space of a warehouse that was abandoned is great. Offices up top, but I would have to say that I am in agreement it's gone too far, and it's going down that with already projects in the pipeline that have been approved.
Red Bank is not the Red Bank it was 40 years ago. Things change, the world changes. And there is a demand for housing here. Red Bank has become a marketing center, a destination center, a place where people want to come and to live. We are close to transportation. We have buses, we have so people can commute. So this is an attraction. We have theaters. 40 years ago, you didn't have the Count Basie Theater, or now it's called the Center for the Arts, the Two River Theater. People want to come here. By developing, we also stabilize taxes by increasing rateables. So the world has changed, and Red Bank is moving along with it.
I'd like to just echo my colleagues' sentiments about that Red Bank is moving forward. However, a lot of those projects that you're discussing are outside the purview of council. They're either the planning board or the zoning board that approve those. The only one is the V&A site that we've worked on in the past 3 years. So the V&A site is important because we're adding additional affordable housing to meet our requirements under the Fair Share Housing Act. We're adding 32 on-site affordable housing spaces, and that's important for all residents. Every resident should have the ability to live where they need to, and it shouldn't just be down by the river is the unaffordable, unobtainable property unless you're super rich. This is for us to incorporate or affordable housing into the river area, and we're very proud of moving that project forward.
Mr. Koku and you. Okay, go ahead. Ask a question, please.
Yeah. Question for all the candidates. What are you going to do if you are elected to stop the gentrification that's going on in Red Bank? When you look around, this is the west side. In a meet like this, there used to be a lot of black folks here. You can probably count black folks here on one hand. Hispanics are not here. When all those black folks and poor people are gone, it's going to be next for seniors, and then this place is only going to be for rich people. What would you do to kind of put a stop to gentrification so it doesn't become like Pierre Village or Asbury Park and all that? And eventually, Ben Forrest, myself, and those who have lived here are not going to be able to afford to live here.
So for people who didn't hear, the question was, what are the candidates going to do to address gentrification, with a particular emphasis on the west side, and how people of color have been forced out of the neighborhood because of the cost of the neighborhood?
I'm very glad you asked that question, and that's a great question. You know, I grew up, you may remember former Councilwoman Sharon Lee. You know, I grew up with her. She was a regular family functions. And I remember her stories of the proud African American community that has always been here in Red Bank. I have some statistics here. In 1990, the African American population here in town was 26%. In 2000, it was 20%. In 2010, it was 12%. And I'm presuming it's going to be single digits in the 2020 census. You have a council that has mismanaged this town so drastically that it has chased the African American population of town. I think it's a tragedy. I mean, when you use Count Basie and Count Basie's name as the center of attraction of Red Bank, you know, you would think that a wonderful African American population has come with that. A lot of that is property taxes. You know, West Red Bank for a long time was a place for African American homeowners, and you know, we know how bad they are with money. And property taxes go up, and they go up, and they go up, and people get pushed out, and the area gets gentrified. It's really that simple.
Yeah. Perhaps we should be careful about realtors coming in and gentrifying the west side. I mean, that's one of the issues as well.
I think that that's really appropriate to take a woman who is actually invested in. You guys have been going west side and use it to drum up your base. No, I think it's funny, but I'm sorry, I really like Allison. Allison is a woman who has decided to make a family in the west side and is actually engaged in the west side. You two, not so much. You two like to use it to drum up votes at election time, and you ignore it. You know, I don't we're not on the west side. They complain about simple things like lights, or they get ticketed too much. You know, these are things that should not happen. Sorry.
Did you want to say something?
No, that's great. I would like to discuss that.
council. I mean, it's, the private property owners have a lot to say with who they sell to and what they sell and what corporations they sell to if they're redoing their property. So for your issue, it's going to be very tough for us to combat that, other than increasing our affordable housing, which we need to do. We have to provide affordable housing for our residents, and so everybody can live in Red Bank and afford to live in Red Bank. So that's pretty much.
So I'm going to move on to the next question. So you had a question?
I had a different question, but now I'm...
You're up.
Now it's a new
You're
question.
ready. Whatever you want your question to be, you can ask.
Now it's a new question.
Okay, sorry.
With this gentleman saying about gentrification, it's not a bad thing in the big picture, because literally that means people are caring about where they're living, and that's very important. And the West, because I live on the West Side, the West Side, 100 years ago, my house was, now it's going to be 100 years old, but it was white. Hey, I said a word that nobody wants to hear, but it was, you know, European people that were living, and they were the people that were the lower, you know, whatever. I'm saying, okay, but no, because when somebody says gentrification, I'm saying the houses that were built 120 years ago were people that were white. And then they were working class people. And the town was working class. We were a hub, going back to that reality. Now, we've changed over many, many times.
So what is your question? I need...
So my question is, why is it an issue that people have a question like, oh, I'm being displaced?
Okay.
Because I bought my house on Shrewsbury Avenue. Why is it an issue for people?
So maybe that question is more appropriate to have with people who have concerns about it, because it's not actually a question as appropriate for the council right now. So I think your point is a good point, but maybe there's a larger community conversation to have about that.
Obviously, that's community event at the
I'm not sure you have questions for the candidates, so that's why I'm saying that. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. No, you can't ask a second question. Wait till I get through the whole crowd. You have to wait. I'm sorry. Are there any other questions over here? And then I'm going to sweep back. Okay? Go ahead.
Richard Stout, I live on Madison Avenue, and my question is directed towards the candidates who have been on the board the longest, and I believe, Eric, that leaves you out. So this question is directed towards Kathy. During the last 12 years of your tenure, what have you done to your role as far as getting grants, getting us grants? Prior to Red Bank hiring an outside independent grant writer, what happened before that? You've been here the longest, so you know. How did you participate in that?
Did everybody hear the question? Because I know it's a little hard in the back. They heard it. Go ahead.
It was usually our borough engineer who would look into grants for certain things. I didn't have a part in that. Our professionals, we leave that kind of thing to professionals to do. So our borough engineers would look for money for certain projects. In fact, that's how we first got the grant in the county for Bellhaven. That was rejected by the Republicans and sent back, unfortunately. And when we applied again, the county wasn't too happy about it, so they put us at the end of the line for applying for money. But that's the grant process. That's really what was going on.
So did the borough administrator have anything to do with that, or was this solely up to the council members as far as coordinating this?
Well, it wasn't up to the council members, it's up to the professionals. And, I don't think our business administrator, the former one, was involved with it. It was, as I said, our borough engineers who did it.
Okay, I'm going to move on because I think
Can I comment?
Yes, you may comment.
So we were on the video grant actually takes effect and the work is done, our children and our families on Shrewsbury Avenue are walking in darkness. There are over 30 streetlights out on Shrewsbury Avenue, and I campaigned on this last year. They've been out for years, and they're still out. So it's a shame that until the grant actually comes through, that we can't have safe streets.
Well, the categories is some of them are county, some of them is the county's responsibility, some of them are the municipal body's responsibility. And they have been, so every coming to a council meeting, and our business administrator told you exactly the amount of light bulbs. Sure. But anyway, that's.
So some of Shrewsbury Avenue is county versus municipal. So we're gonna
street light we're talking about it.
Right. Okay. So, any more questions over here? So in the back, are there, I'm not ignoring you back there. Are there questions in the back? Yes. You could stand up. Thank you.
Kate Oakson, Chapin Avenue. This is for Allison. Last week you knocked my door. I signed for Morgan Mainstrom, and I took some time to think about our conversation. And I'm trying to put it in context with your library message. So you called for nonpartisan elections, you called for the charter study, and you said at my door that you wanted to unify Red Bank, that you wanted one Red Bank, to use your term. You've also charged in some of your promotions local electeds as being tied to national politics only. Yet you run as a Republican. And that party on the national level I find is tied to exclusion. Your local chair has been on record with divisive and discriminatory language. So my question is, if these are not your values, why are you running as a Republican and not an independent?
Think global, act local, right? That's what we're trying to do here. And I'll give you an example. You know, I want to speak a little, speak very honestly and candidly here. Yesterday at the Red Bank Council meeting, monthly meeting, I lost my temper a little bit. But I am not sorry. I lost my temper because the Red Bank Borough Council yesterday made a proclamation to acknowledge Hispanic Heritage Month. Now, you may say, well, that's not a big deal about Hispanic Heritage Month. Well, the funny thing is that they made a proclamation 2 weeks after Hispanic Heritage Month ended. And we have a population here that is 1/3 Hispanic, maybe a little more. And, you know, it's one thing to make token gestures. It's another thing to actually want to do something to integrate Red Bank and bring Red Bank together. You know, there's never been an acknowledgement of Hispanic Heritage Month until this year when I pushed the council to acknowledge despite the fact that virtually everybody in
So
this
that's
town.
why you're a Republican?
Would you let me finish, sir?
Hold it, just hold it, okay? He has the right to say what he
You know, I'm up here trying to make a change, and you're back there yelling at me. So who's trying to do more here, okay? So, let me explain. We have a population here that has heritage from Pueblo. They've never acknowledged celebrating that holiday, okay? So what I want to say is, when you walk into the Borough Hall, there's a sign that says, no vote hate at home. But it's not enough not to hate. You have to love and you have to lead. My opponents are not leaders. They're not Democrats. They're opportunists. Democrats would be bringing people together. They wouldn't be chasing the African American population in the town. They wouldn't be ignoring the Mexican American population, except for token gestures.
So go ahead, you can respond, and then I'm going to move on to another.
Okay. To say that we have never been involved with the Latino community here is really outrageous. I'd like to know where you were when we had rallies. Please show your respect. Where were you when we had
I'll tell you where I was.
rallies?
I'll tell you where I was. I was.
Just hold on, you have to sit.
I don't know how it's going to be on the council.
Okay, wait.
Well, we know you can't go anything.
Let her answer.
Great candidate, y'all.
You will have an opportunity.
Wow.
Just need to let us finish.
Jesus. Civility.
And where were you when we had rallies to support
Yep.
immigration, when we were against what was happening at the border? When the council passed a resolution, an all-inclusive resolution, the council chambers was standing room only with Latino students, parents, teachers, and at that time there were 3 Republicans on the council and 3 Democrats. We voted for it, the Democrats voted for it, the Republicans against it. So where were they? How were they supporting the Latino community? And I've never seen you at any event. Have you gone to the primary school when they have Cinco de Mayo? Do you? Have you ever been there? I mean, we do things here.
So let me get this straight, you're not fair, but Senator.
I'm not saying that. I don't
I'll
know
tell
if
you
you're
where I was. I'll tell you where I was.
Just hold on now, you can speak. Just hold on.
Shut
I
up.
was filling out documents for people. That's where I was.
Where?
I've actually done it as an attorney.
Okay. So that's where, okay. Just everybody take a deep breath, all right? All right. So I'm still in the back. Are there any other questions in the back? I'm going to come up here and I'm going to come across. Okay. You have to wait until everyone, I know it's very patient. Just have to hold on to it, okay? Is there a question here in this group? Yes. And then we'll come to you. Okay?
Steve Hecht. I live on Branch Avenue. Mr. Penny, I do a lot of stuff in town and go to a lot of meetings. Where have you been?
Okay, that's the question.
Where have you been in the 4 years or whatever that you're living in Red Bank? I haven't seen you.
Okay.
I read your Q&A on John Ward's, and what I saw you said about public service was that you were counsel to the Young Democrats. Young Republicans. But where have you been with respect to public service and, as Ms. Horgan was asking you, with respect to participation in our little world here? Where have you been?
Okay, Steve, go ahead.
Well, I'm running now, and I'm trying to make a difference.
Where have you been, sir?
You've already
Not
asked the
now.
question, so let him answer the question.
I would like to make a difference in this town. This is my chance. Have I been as active as I could have been? No, I'm a young man trying to make my way in the legal profession, and now I'm putting my reputation on the line. I'm here to answer some questions. If you'd like to come over for a beer or some coffee, you can certainly do that. I'm happy to talk about whatever you want, and we can work together. That's what I'm about.
Thank you. You've asked a question, Mr. Koku, you have to wait. Are there any questions in this middle section here? Okay, then you're the next question. Go ahead.
Question for Allison and Jonathan. Should you win, you'll still be in the minority. You'll still be 4 Democrats to Republicans. It's hard to get consensus collaboration. Offer tonight is accusations of what we will do, but it still takes a majority. So how exactly?
So before you speak, just to run through the question was, even if they both get elected, they'll be in the minority, and how will they be able to get consensus and move things along? Go ahead.
Yes, obviously it would be a minority, and obviously it would be very difficult to get things done. But as you can see, Allison is very tenacious, and at the very minimum, what we can do is we can create an opposing voice. You know, I don't care what party you're in, any kind of uniform control is not good, because it creates a lack of transparency, it creates a lack of debate. And as you can see here, we certainly are not shy about debate. And that is one thing I can do. You know, the last time the council had a little balance, there was a lot more discussion in the public forum about development projects. Now you don't hear about things like they're done, or you hear about election time. So I think that's what we can provide.
So I would say the same. I would say that I'm a realtor, so I am constantly negotiating. I'm constantly speaking to clients, attorneys, what have you. I'm a very successful agent at my career, and I think that I can take that leap. And what it is it's what's best for Red Bank. So if we're met with opposition, I feel that I have the skills to get them to work together as a team, as one team, and that's why nonpartisan would be great for Red Bank, because then there is no party affiliation. I'm not your enemy, I'm not a monster. I want what's best for Red Bank, and I'm hoping that when we get on council, the rest of the council members will see it the same way, that I'm not an enemy. I want what's best for Red Bank. We want what's best for Red Bank. So let's move that forward and not worry about the party affiliation.
Time check for people. We have about 15 more minutes in this section. So if you have a question and you haven't asked one yet, please, don't hold back, all right? So you're next, and then is there someone else there's another question here? And there's a question here. So those are the 3, and then the 4th is over there. Okay? We're still asking only questions for people who haven't asked questions yet. So you're number 1, number 2, Nancy's 3, and you're 4. Okay, go ahead.
Number 1, Steve. Bruce Wick from Prospect Avenue. A large percent of our tax base is with nonprofits, and we continue to expand, especially Hackensack. Do you think we should have some rules about how much property Hackensack can buy up?
The question was, we have a lot of nonprofits in Red Bank, and should particularly Hackensack Meridian be restricted on how much land they can buy off and, in essence, not pay taxes? Right? So that was the question. Anyone can answer the
Yeah,
question?
we do have a lot of nonprofits, and we know that, and we're trying to deal with that. But for a private landowner not to be able to sell to a corporation is something that we can't step in on as a council. The private landowners have the ability to sell to whoever they want. In the contrary, we have filed a lawsuit against Hackensack Meridian to proclaim them as a for-profit organization, as we think they are. And they're a profit-making entity, so we're in the middle
Clancy. I agree, let's move. Eric just said something in there, we have to keep moving forward. My question is, why aren't you doing the first checkpoint, which is the Charter Study Commission? What are you afraid of?
Which is what? I'm sorry.
The Charter Study Commission. The first overall recommendation in that 48-page report was to designate a Charter Study Commission, which may find that the current form of government is sustainable, might be fine. So what are you actually afraid of? If you guys have all the power, you have no opposition, what are you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything. I don't think we're afraid of anything. There are some issues here. First of all, let me ask you, I know that you and McClellan were proposing that, and you went out and tried to get signatures on the petition. I think you also put, pardon me?
There's two ways to do it.
Right, and you did it online, or you could go door to door. But you didn't get all those, you did not get all those signatures, because frankly, I don't think the town wants it. It would be, no, I don't think they do. I don't think they want it. Because if they did, they would have all the signatures. But also, if you have a charter commission to change the system of government that we have, it's costly. It is very costly. There are many options to take into consideration. If you have a nonpartisan government, we know that, for instance, in Long Branch, they paid, I don't know how much money in order to, they were running as nonpartisan, they put a couple $100,000 into their election. And many times, when you are a nonpartisan municipality, the people, if you say you're not allied to a party, you still have to have the support of someone. And it's not going to change whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. There's still going to be, the money will be there to help get you elected.
Because the Charter Study Commission doesn't mean you have to change it. It means it gives the council the option to review it, make decisions based on finances, maybe based on the other people that might create. You can also look campaign finance laws in effect. And at the end of the day, someone like me, I didn't get a lot of the party. I got friends and family, like, I got relations with people who supported me locally, not because I was playing the party. Because I wasn't playing the party.
I think part of the question is, why do you not advance sort of the investigation? Is that a fair? Right. So I, okay. I'm gonna do time on you, but I think what he's really asking is why did you take the step to explore the options? And were you afraid to explore the options? That's really, I think, where we're starting. So if you both answer that question, because it's really directed at you, and then I'm gonna move on, because we're getting through that. Okay?
We're not afraid of the charter study, the study to look at our borough management, our borough form of government. However, that is a costly study. That's something that we haven't decided on if we're going to do it or not. We are still doing other things in that management enhancement that we do that needs to get done first before we take any extra money and put it towards some study or commission that may or may not say that it's fruitful. So I think that there's other priorities before we get to that. This would cost about $30,000 to $35,000 of taxpayer money to do a study on something that we may or may not need.
Okay, I'm going to move on. I think he gave your answer. You may not be satisfied with the answer, but he did give you an answer. Okay?
I think I have 20 seconds.
You can have 20 seconds, but I am running out of
Okay.
time.
The reason that, first of all, we've never been afraid of costly studies in the past, and that's basically what I know. But I think that we could bring everything together by moving towards a new form of government, or non-partisan form of government. And one reason we don't like it is because it's high on B, and we actually evaluate it on the quality of your counseling, which is not very good.
I'm going to move on. You're going to pass? No, Mr. Cook, you're not ready yet. And you've asked the question. There was somebody over here. Yes. Go ahead. We're still taking the first questions. We may not get the second one.
My name is John Clancy. I live on Leonard Street, and I've been within a block of county-owned Shrewsbury Avenue since 1982. So that's a little thing we quasi have in common. Now, I'll make the question short. Since you share my concern with that road, the county road, Can you give me 2 things you would do that would cost the borough money or try to get money out of the county, good luck, to improve that road? New traffic light, whatever. 2 specific things.
So I did ask for police enforcement, and that is something that could be provided by the town if they have the support to do that. And I think we could use crossing guards on that street. We have crossing guards on Layton, we have crossing guards by Oakland, we have crossing guards on Maple. There's a lot of other broad, and I'll keep going down. So why do we not have as many crossing guards on the west side that we do on the east side? I would absolutely reach out to the county. We have secured $1 million grant. I hope that that's outlined in that grant, that we can move forward and make it safer. And I don't know how long that will take, but I hope in the interim we can make some short changes that won't cost the taxpayers money.
Okay? Any other questions over there? People who have not asked a question. Any people in the middle? You have to wait. Anybody in the middle? Anybody in the back who's not asked a question, who would like to ask a question? You cannot ask a question, Mr. Anybody here who's not asked a question yet, who'd like to ask a question? Anybody along the side here? Everybody good? Okay. So we have, how many people who have already asked a question who want to ask another one? I know you do. I know you do. So there's 4 people. Okay? Please ask your question succinctly, and please answer succinctly because we're really kind of running up against the time. So you can put your hand down. I got you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And I hope that in asking your question you might add a new point or a new issue, just, so we have the depth and breadth of the question. Okay? So go ahead. Go ahead. Sure.
Tamara Kramer, Locust Avenue. Just so you know, nationally, I'm a Democrat. Locally, I look at it totally different because I don't like any board of anything being one party. There is transparency issues. That's not a huge part.
Okay.
To Eric, I have a question. Now, I'm not sure if I'm correct, but is it affordable housing percent based on how many housings there are or go up? So to have that additional affordable housing that you're saying, oh look, we get 35 or 37, that means there's going to be quite a larger percent that are going to weigh way out of anybody's in here's price bracket. All right, that's what happens with the gentrification is you put up luxury buildings that are $1 million plus condos, and then it trickles down, okay, we give you a couple little apartments affordable, and then what happens to the other places? Their prices rise because you can't afford $1 million house, so you go to the other part of the town you want to be in it, which is Red Bank and Wooded, that you would want to be, and since it's lower, you buy it. So how does this affordable housing such a fabulous deal when you're putting up all the other percents of extremely expensive housing that's affecting our infrastructure, because now you're adding more kids in school, traffic on the roads, parking. So how do you justify all those additional developments?
So did everybody hear it? Okay, we're good? So, Eric?
All right, so for that, it's not additional developments, it's one development that we talked about at council, we had say on it. The V&A, well, one thing, the developer has to do all the infrastructure improvements, the roads, the pipes, everything.
This is long term.
Yeah.
This is a long term thing.
Yeah.
We're not paying for the schools for the kids that go there for the next 18 years or whatever.
So the V&A site is going to have 32 affordable units. The other units are the only way that a developer can come in and provide that for us. And we needed, in order to get our our fair share housing litigation and meet our requirements, we needed this building as part of that development.
What
for
if you
fair
didn't
share
have the
housing.
building at all?
Well,
Then you
we
wouldn't need
would have
this
been short. Fair share housing wanted more affordable
That
housing
means
in
you
town.
already put up another developments that were
No.
substantially more that you now
No,
have
the percentage,
behind.
the percentage, we were low. We were below the percentage that fair share housing required as it was. And this was part of the deal with fair share housing to have this development come through and come to fruition. And it increases the total number of affordable housing units in our town. It's not necessarily a percentage, but it's a number that we have to meet in order to be in compliance with fair share housing from the state.
You just said we were under fair share housing, so
We're under the percentage and they wanted more affordable
you had to
units.
put up 200 apartments to.
We needed
Why don't you
32.
do a fair?
Yeah, we needed 32
Can you
units.
explain?
Why couldn't you do 50-50?
All right, hold on.
No developer can afford 50-50. The way that developers can come in and provide these are by having 210 units.
Developers then, is what it seems.
We needed to expand our affordable housing, and this was the route that we had to go in order to get it done.
So if you want to talk a little bit more detail, I know that housing stuff is a little complicated. You know, it's ratios and obligations from the state. So why don't you talk a little bit afterwards, because it is a little complicated. And sometimes you're forced into these things that you don't always want. All right, you're next, Mr. Poku, right? Then you, and then, okay.
My question is tailored to the two attorneys, candidates, okay? What is your understanding of the protection of a curtilage? C-U-R-T-I-L-L-A-G-E? And
They don't know what you're saying.
what is your understanding of the protection of a curtilage? If you know what it means, okay?
They don't know what it means. Cartilage?
Yes.
What is that?
Curtilage is the area surrounding a private property. That's the sanctity. A man's house is his castle. Old common law, all right? So with the advancement of technology, okay, you can tie a cell phone to a stick and do surveillance and all that stuff. What is your viewpoint on a borough official using a drone to enter the sanctity of a curtilage? Can you speak about that?
That's extremely illegal. I know that when I work in real estate law in New York City, air rights are taken very seriously. I don't know New Jersey's law offhand on that kind of thing, but I can't imagine that. What is your ultimate goal for the question, sir? I'm sorry.
What is your viewpoint on the invasion
But
of
he
a
wants
curtilage?
to know what is it connected
Yeah,
to.
what is
Give a context to your question.
The context is that as a secretary of the NAACP, I was approached by a family in Red Bank that said that drones were being flown over their house. You know, looking in bedroom windows and bathrooms and all that. So you got a tiny plane flying on a private property, and it's being done by a borough official. So basically, what is your viewpoint on that? And that's your two answers.
We understand now what you're saying. Yes, thank you for giving that clarification.
That would be extremely illegal, and I would actually call the police if saw something like that.
I don't have any knowledge of any of our borough officials doing that, and frankly, I can't give you legal advice on it, because I don't handle any land or property cases. So frankly, I can't just give you legal advice on something that I don't know.
It's not asking for legal. What's your
Right.
opinion?
What's your opinion? It was an opinion question, not a legal
Not
question.
illegal. What's your opinion?
My opinion is that you shouldn't have somebody spying on your property. You shouldn't. And I'm unaware of that.
So here's the question, the last question is here, if you could be succinct, that would be great.
I have a question about technology also. It's 2020 almost, and can we use, any ideas from any candidate, how can we use technology in 2020 to make government more transparent, more responsive? I know Red Bank has a great website. I've used it to report you know, garbage on the street and water leaks, that kind of thing. Is there a way, and you know, what ideas you might have to use technology, social media? Maybe we could ask questions directly of a council member or whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did everybody hear the question? This is how to use technology, social media, other ways to make basically town hall more accessible and to be able to communicate through engage in different kinds of ways.
Speaking of technology, can we all give a round of hand for Sue Stan for phones to the world? Why the council doesn't webcast this themselves is beyond me. I think that we want, you know, talk about transparency. What could be more transparent than webcasting council meetings, making it more accessible? I was in council meeting yesterday. Unless there's some sort of ceremony meeting at the beginning, which draws people, you're looking at 15 people, best case scenario at the meeting. You can also use things that are not so technological, like coffee and donuts, and try to engage people. It's a people business. I would also like to make sure that there's an interpreter at council meetings, that people whose language is not English as the first language can public comment. And I think we should also start summarizing. I think we should publish summarized minutes, because obviously there's a lot of legal jargon and numbering and lettering with the laws in these council meetings. So accessible government is absolutely key. Today's technology will see absolute perfect opportunity to do that.
I'm glad you mentioned minutes. If I could just have a comment. Right now it's taking like 2 months or something to get the minutes from the council meetings. It would be great if we could have it faster. Thank you.
So the comment was to get minutes faster rather than taking 2 months. Does anybody else want to make a remark?
She does several jobs, and she tries to get them out as soon as she can. Go talk to her.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Allison,
Actually, to your point, there's a lot of committees that don't even submit their meeting minutes online, and they should be. One example was Parks and Recreation. Tried to find that today, I couldn't find it.
For the minutes, we have to approve them as a council. So the next council meeting, we have to vote on that after we review the minutes to make sure that they were taken correctly. So unfortunately, not by law, they can't be published until we vote on that.
Could you vote electronically?
No, that would be a violation of the Sunshine Law. So, but I do agree with John. I think the borough should videotape and cast our council meetings. I mean, Sue does a great job, but we should do it as a borough. And we should allow more people who are getting home from work to see it and not have to come down to Borough Hall.
Although we can also, it's a great idea. I would encourage, win or lose, I would encourage, again, I thank all of you for being, I would encourage all of you to go to more council meetings. And again, I think more bilingual assistance on council meetings as well.
So we have the last question here, just before the closing, 3 minutes.
So my question actually comes back to the topic we talked a lot about, and said, put things back there. So I actually believe Lane Avenue is much more of a hazard even than Shrewsbury Avenue. We have children and adults
3 years. We do need additional enforcement there. I think that's a good way to slow down traffic. I think our police officers are great, and they should be over there a little more just to make sure that that's just not a cut through West Side. We have a lot of residents that live there and cross that street daily, and we do need a little more enforcement, in my opinion.
Okay, any other comments? Because I want to move to our closes. All right? You'll have a few moments as we're, at the end. If you want to go up and ask individual questions, please don't hesitate to do that. That's what the candidates are here to be accessible to you here, but they'll also probably be knocking on your doors. So who's number one in closing? Garth, go ahead. Thank you very much for all your hard work.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, councilmen for coming. It was a pleasure getting to debate policy. First and foremost, I would like to thank God for allowing me to have the good fortune of this unique and challenging opportunity. Sorry, I'm a rookie at this. I would also again like to thank my fiancée Liza for her resolute support in this endeavor. We know that as a strong-willed Democrat you are, you were initially skeptical, but your support has been a true pillar of strength and an asset for me. I would also like to thank Allison Gregory for being an excellent running mate. Her energy is infectious. She's a wonderful family, and I'm proud of how she knows so well. And lastly, I'd like to thank all the people I've spoken with while door knocking. I learned more about everything in my community than I could ever hope. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting everyone. And I would like to add that I've been incredibly heartened by the conversations I've had with Representative Brothers walking hand door to door. In this toxic political climate, I was expecting more hostility, but I have to say I've not really received any. These conversations and interactions have made me very hopeful, even more proud of our town than I've been when I started. Most everyone just wants what's best for Red Bank, as do I. I apologize if I came off, I'm sure my friends will say that I came off a little angry, but that really is passion. I'm half Mexican, half Irish, so I'm not sure. Yes, it is quite a bit. And you can come over and share my receipt election anytime, Councilwoman. I'd love to talk about it. Yes, she's wonderful. I'm sure you know how about see, we can get one. See? And I'm sure a lot of people, honestly, I swear to God, I think a lot of people buying a Democrat Councilwoman candidates in there. I really do believe that. So I would just like to close with, again, just thanking everyone. There's a borough manager enhancement report. There's a lot of problems, and I'm willing to get dirty, get in there, roll up my sleeves and work. You can go with the same old. What do they say? That insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's what this election is about. So on November 5th, if you want to fight for a better, more integrated Red Bank that will put people above politics, and you want to make history, vote Allison Gregory and John and myself. Thank you for coming.
When elected as your next councilwoman, I will lead, listen, and take action. I will keep with all my promises and give residents and businesses back their voice. I never imagined I might find myself rerunning for Borough Council this year, but I am driven and I don't quit. Red Bank deserves better. I will focus on running our borough intelligently, efficiently, and effectively. I believe by doing so we can improve the quality of our life for all our residents, reduce the tax burden that's always being raised, and increase revenue so we have extra funds to support for our green space, our children, and our community. Lastly, on November 5th, think to yourself, you could elect my opponents who have left the projects a mess, increase taxes year after year, or you can elect Allison Gregory and Jonathan Maciel-Penny, who will put the people of Red Bank first and fight for a better Red Bank. Thank you so much for being here.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. These past 3 years have been wonderful. They've been great. I love serving the public. I love serving all the residents and businesses of this town. I think my track record speaks for itself. Since I've been in office, we've got a lot done on the Parks and Rec and the parking. Everything that we've said in our 2016 campaign, we've worked on and we've moved forward. The master enhancement review is something that we're very proud of, and we want to move forward and make our borough a better place and a borough hall a better facility for our residents and for the businesses in the community. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of projects in the works, and I want to see them through. I want to work hard, get down and dirty with getting things done, moving projects to the completion. And I really just hope that you give me the chance to serve you again for another 3 years on November 5th, and I want to thank everybody. Thanks.
He's the best man in me, and we get along very well. In my closing statement, I just want to say that our opponents frequently remark that there are no opposed leaders on the council, but nothing could be further from the truth. Take a deep look at the members of the council. We are diverse, and we are a reflection of our community. We are not a monolith, but individuals who value the town, its rich history, its fabric of diverse people, and promise. We are leaders who listen. We are leaders who are experienced. We are leaders who took the gutsy initiative 2 years ago to reform the way Red Bank does business. Experience and reform are the two most important takeaways tonight. On November 5th, if you want experienced policymakers who are reflecting change through reforming the way we do business in Red Bank, then vote Horgan and Newsom for council. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Please remember